Cool Dad Great Kid. Today we're going to be talking about buoyancy. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Correct. So today we're going to talk about buoyancy. Nothing over this, nothing under it, nothing over it, nothing under it. So the neat thing about buoyancy, that describes whether or not something will sink or float in a gas or a liquid. So if you think about it, everyone's gone and thrown a beach ball into a pool or something, watched it float. Sometimes you throw a rock in water, it sinks. All of that's determined by the amount of material you offset. If what you offset weighs more than what is offsetting it, such as a balloon floating on water, well, it's going to offset more weight worth of water than the balloon itself generates. So it'll float. That'll be positive buoyancy. If you have a stone, it'll be negative buoyancy. It'll sink. There's not enough offsetting factor. If you're neutral, like an ice cube is kind of neutral when it's floating, it's still trying to go up by 9%, but it's kind of like just barely below. That's showing something that's kind of at equilibrium. These are at equilibrium. Now gases, just like anything else, the heaviest gases will float to the bottom, or I should say sink, and then you'll have striations and you'll have a column of weight, right? And so these are floating at equilibrium. So the neat thing is you can do this at a birthday party, take a chunk of a napkin, tie it on, just wrap it around a few times, see where it finally barely sinks, and then rip off little bits at a time. And then you'll get something that reaches equilibrium that can just float around the room.
So take this and rip off these parts.
Yep, there you go.
Then you do it.
And this will work even with like liquid metals. So if you have mercury, mercury is super dense. It's way heavier. It's way denser than steel. So you can take steel weights, like you would lift weights, throw them in mercury, and it'll behave like throwing a beach ball into a pool. It'll splash in and float on top because it cannot offset more weight than the mass of the mercury. And so metal will float on top of metals. Gases float on top of gases. Liquids float on top of liquids when you have like oil and water. So it's a neat little thing, and this is probably, I think, the coolest way to show it. Kids love it. I love it. I do it every time I'm around a birthday balloon. And then one last thing. Here, hang on, bud. So a little quick thing here. Stand still because we don't want to cause a lot of currents. Is you can also sort of show the Bernoulli principle that makes an airplane wing work. So when something goes past something at a higher speed, it has less pressure. So an airplane wing, air going over the wing is going faster than the bottom because it's humped. And so it has less pressure. That's why the airplane goes up. So this is, they're losing pressure so fast that it's actually barely touching. But if I blow air across the top, there'll be a low pressure zone. So watch. Here, watch out, bud. So that moving air had less pressure and it's drawn up to the low pressure. Here, let's leave this alone. I'll blow below this one. Well, it was hard to see on the camera. It more was shifting it side to side. But you get the idea. A neat little effect and something fun to do at a kid's birthday party or at your next company event when it's someone's birthday. So, all right, bud, I think we're all done. What do you got for them?
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe!
Yes, please. Thanks.